What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of the Wrestling Junkies podcast. I'm Eric, Mr. Cincinnati Robinson. As always, I'm joined by the podcast dad himself, Chris Hoops. Choops, how we doing, man?
I am fantastic. I'm at the point where I keep saying this, but I'm going to keep saying it until I sound like a broken record. We get to interview a real life wrestler on this program, and I love it. So I'm going to shut up and let's let him talk.
Yeah, it never stops being cool. Tonight, our next guest has competed for the likes of Action Packed Wrestling, where he is the reigning heavyweight champion, Pro Wrestling Turbo, and will be in action this weekend for Viral Pro Wrestling, where he will be defending his VPW Outbreak Championship against Billy Brash. He is the conductor of the Hood Hype Train. He's in high demand. Please welcome Drew Hood. Drew, how you doing, man?
That I'm doing phenomenal. I'm doing even better because, my God, you've done your research. I have to come on to these things and onto these shows and annoy everybody with just the most obnoxious of introductions. So I do appreciate the knowledge of what DHNHG's been doing these days. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. We definitely pride ourselves in trying. Thank you very much.
Eric's good at being obnoxious. Yes.
Oh,
damn it! Really? You know what? That's okay. That's okay.
Even that's my fault.
You said it.
No, that's fine. That's
knocked it out of the
park. It's okay.
So.
I'm unfortunately used to it. It's okay. But let's dive right on in. So here at the Wrestling Junkies, we believe the wrestlers, all of them are either a superhero or a supervillain. The one thing they have in common is that they all have an origin story. So Drew, tell us about some of your earliest memories of pro wrestling.
So I can tell you that for me, whenever I started watching pro wrestling, it was because I made friends with someone in my theater class, and they came over to my house, they hopped on the computer, and then they typed in WWE.com, and I said, "What are you looking up?" And he was like, "Oh, it's pro wrestling." I was like, "Oh, I've seen some pro wrestling stuff like here and there on TV, like as a kid, like in kindergarten, first grade, going to Toys R Us and then seeing all the action figures on the shelves." My parents don't disapprove. But when I picked it up, they said, no, and then put it back. So, they weren't really keen on it at that point in time. But once my friend Josh, hi Josh, if you ever watch this, hey, how you doing? He started scrolling through everything, and I'm watching, and I'm seeing all these characters. I'm going, is this what wrestling is? Is wrestling, is that what that? There's larger than life characters. They're all creative. They're all colorful. They're all, what is this? And he proceeded to explain it to me. And we can call it a quick obsession, or we can call it falling in love immediately. But it was just hooked. I said, oh, it's more to it than just, like hitting each other. It's more to it than just the in-ring stuff. There's more to it. Sick. Let me learn.
What era was that? Did you see?
So this was about 2006, 2007. So it was around that time where, the Cenas and the Triple H's, the Ortons, the Kennedys, the Takers, everybody around them was running around, and the Batistas and everybody else. And I'm just sitting there just awestruck, man. I'm like, man, these guys are great. This is so cool.
Would you say any of those guys had any influence on your in-ring style or anything that you do in your presentation today?
So, this comparison I've gotten like offhand every now and again, but it's one that I personally am like, you know what? I'll take it, because he was called the next big thing that never happened. A lot of people like to say that, I'm like Mr. Kennedy himself. So there's a lot of that bull, there's a lot of that brash, there's a lot of that loudmouth, there's a lot of that. So I get that comparison a lot. And, well, spoiler alert, he was one of my favorite wrestlers when I started watching. So I'm a big Kennedy guy, of course.
Very cool.
I'm picking that up. I can understand the comparison. Just the first few minutes in, but that's not a bad thing.
It's not just blonde either. Yeah,
no. I'm waiting for that mic to drop down from your ceiling.
I got one like right there. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Right there. Whatever.
That's pretty cool. I might have to steal that one from you. All right, let's get to this picture that you have pinned on X, Twitter for the cool kids. Seen here with James and is it Mila?
Mila, yes,
Mila Johnson. Mm-hmm. Tell us what championships we're looking at here, and tell us about these friendships.
All right. So starting with these championships here on the next to my big old beautiful self is the Action Packed Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. And then next to that is the VPW Outbreak Championship. Next to that is the Pro Wrestling Union United Heavyweight Championship. Those 3 championships, those 3 pretty titles, those are all mine. The middle one is the United Pro Wrestling Women's Championship that Mila, she didn't officially win it per se, but it just so happened to be laying around a locker room, and she said, kind of want that one for myself. So there's some content on social media too that we filmed for that, so that's fun. The Palmetto Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Championship next to that one is held by James Johnson, and there is there's an updated championship that everybody should go look at on Facebook. It is a gorgeous championship, but that thing weighs like 25 pounds. It's massive. And then we've got the ACW Heavyweight Championship, also held by James.
Nice.
So, yeah, quick little run through on the titles. But those 2, they are my ride or dies. They are the ones that I train with, I ride with very consistently. They push me to be a better me every single, not just week, not just wrestling show, but every single day. James has mentored me a lot. He trained under Ethan Case, Billy Brash, amongst others, and he's bestowed all the knowledge and more that I could ever ask for. And Mila is my little sister, man. She is energetic. She's so bubbly, and she's like the nicest person you could ever meet. She just gives the blanket off her back to people whenever whenever people are in need. So they are 2 of my best friends in the entire world, and I love them dearly. And those are also my 2 stablemates for the Sports Entertainment Empire, SEE, little acronym there. We make those towns, drive them roads, spreading the love and preaching the joy of all things sports and entertainment, of course.
Well, I hate to be the one to tell you, but sports entertainment's dead.
Hey, it's not quite yet. Not quite yet. A little sliver right there. But yes, when I saw those headlines, I went, well, there's still 3 people doing it. There's 3 of us.
It's all right. There's still a whole company that's going to do it. Don't let them fool you.
Yeah. Last of a dying breed
So
or something.
So we know you've got the accolades. We know that you're a talker. I mean, you have a microphone tattooed on your arm. You have also been called one of the best dressed on the indies here, and I just happened to come across this. This is just swag personified right here. So tell us about the importance of putting your best foot forward when you're traveling, and who are some of your fashion influences?
All right. Well, that one specifically, I'm sure as soon as people see that, they'll be like, oh, Dwayne. Yeah, okay, of course, the turtleneck and the pants and everything else. I just didn't have the fanny pack because I didn't have the Gucci belt, Of course not.
Sure.
But for me, right, I put a polo on, and my apartment mate was like, "Why'd you put a polo on?" I was like, "Because I gotta do an interview. I gotta do this important interview. I gotta look at least very, in my mind, presentable for these things. You know what I mean?" What I was told from very important people is, you want to stand out from the moment people put eyes on you. So now that's so ingrained in my head that I look for a kind of fashion that, with that picture you see, I don't know how many people will be looking like that these days, but it's still at least, decently high fashion looking. I mean, look at those loafers. How could you hate those? Those are so cool. Come on, But in all seriousness, I think it's very important to dress for the job you want. And I think it's very important to, for that picture specifically, that was the ECWA Super 8 tournament, which is a huge prestigious tournament in independent wrestling that's been ongoing for almost 20 years. It's very, very, it's important for first impressions. That's why even for seminars, and a very important seminar that happened a couple months ago, I still wore my best dress, because if, you're going in there with sweats and hoodie and stuff, you're comfortable, but you want to be out of your comfort zone to get to where you want to go. So that is where my mentality is on being as best dressed as I possibly can be.
No, that's great advice. Probably the best advice I've ever been given, in my personal and professional career, was get out of your comfort zone. So it's a great message. Also, Eric, throw that picture back up. I want to let's see those loafers again.
Yeah.
Look at them. Look at them.
It's a look.
Look, bro.
I'm gonna ask, where do you even get those?
Oh, that's a secret. If I told everybody my secrets, and everybody could do it, you know? Like, I'll give it to you off air.
I'm gonna say I need to impress my wife, so we'll talk off air.
I got you. Off air, I got you. And you're gonna love where I get them from. Absolutely.
Oh, I can't wait. So you consider yourself being, one of the best talkers in the world. Let's not even talk about the Indies, just in the world. Training for in-ring competition is one thing. How do you stay prepared to stay sharp on the mic?
Well, I read somewhere, this is how I'm going to, validate this. I read somewhere that if you talk to yourself, it's a sign of genius. So I don't feel bad talking to myself on a consistent basis. Like, I'll be at work and not necessarily in the middle of doing very important work things, but if I have some off time, maybe I'm just off to the side, I'll just have an idea and be like, how can I make that a promo? And then I'll just start going. Yeah. And if there's good lines in there, I'm like, that's good. I'm gonna keep that. And then just, do that way. I'm consistently trying to just eat all this social media and drink all this social media in that's going on right now. All these trends on TikTok and Instagram and everywhere else. It's very important to stay up to date on social media, as much as we as wrestlers may not really like doing it. Because personally, for me, I'll admit it, I'm not great at TikTok, but I'll watch it and I'll see what the trends are, what the words are, what, how that's going and how people are accepting different styles of deliverance on words. Or like conversations. If you're yelling at people in, like an 80s wrestling promo style, they're gonna back off. They're kind of like, that's a lot, that I'm not really feeling that. There's gonna be that niche audience that loves it, but what I'm finding now is people really bite when you're just essentially having a conversation, when you're just talking to people and you're just inviting them to call and response. So for me, again, my influence is just strictly what's more popular now. So if it's conversation, I'll just engage in as much conversation as I can, but also take mental notes on how people are reacting to certain things and be like, okay, that pushed your buttons. I'm going to use that and just use that towards wrestling.
Nice. I like it. Very well said. So this past weekend, you took on JD Drake. Take us through this match. It looked pretty hard hitting from what I saw. And what's next for you guys?
Well, I would show the marks on my chest because they're still there. But bruised, beaten, bloodied, battered. That was a physical test. Pushed me to the absolute limit, but it's one of those you need to have them kind of matches just to see where you're at, just to see if you're at the level that you mentally think you are. I would say that's one of my favorite matches I've had, probably just in my career, period. I think JD Drake also goes under the radar on a lot of people for whatever reason. He is unbelievable. He's so good at what he does. He's hard hitting and he's agile as can be for a big man. But he's also like incredibly smart and he's, really, really wise because he's been around for a minute and he's learned from a lot of very important people. And he's worked at obviously a lot of very important places.
Sure.
So that match on Friday was a level up, as I like to say. Let me see if I can meet someone at the level that I want to be at, and then bring myself to that, and then stay there, and then continue onwards from that level. And I personally, whether it's ego, selfishness, or whatever you want to call it, I feel like I did deliver on that half, and I feel like I've hit a pretty good stride in that manner.
Yeah, no. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna ask my tech guy to bring up another tweet real quick. Eric, if you could, thank you. So right here we're looking at a tweet. You love proving people wrong. It's evidence that we have found in our tweet here. Prove them wrong. Take us through the importance of showing the world that your success will not be denied in the wrestling industry.
So for a quick context behind that as well, when I started wrestling, I was not the 6'2", 225-pound man, myth, and legend in the making. I wasn't big meat muscle mountain. I wasn't as comfortable being me in front of people as I would have hoped. I was relegated more to tag teams, to being like the third wheel, playing second fiddle, or just being a good hand, or just being more of a background guy, when mentally I knew I could do more, but I just couldn't quite break through it.
Yeah.
And I was letting a lot of this, oh, you'll just, you're good for this level, but it probably won't just like break through. Or you'll be good at this spot, but that's probably about it. And I let a lot of that drag me down. And then ironically, what it took was 2020, everything shutting down, and then being alone with your thoughts for a few months for me to really just be like, why am I holding back? Why am I letting other people dictate what I'm going to do? Why am I letting other people tell me that my limitation is here or all the way down here? And that's when I really started to dedicate myself to proving people wrong. There's less naysayers now, which I guess speaks to hard work, determination, whatever you want to call it. But there are still those that are kind of like, maybe not. Maybe they're more silent than before. Maybe people just aren't as vocal because, who knows? Who's to say? Who's to say, what kind of negative thoughts people have? But at this point, it doesn't bother me. At this point, it's way more of I love that people will doubt it, and then I'll go on to do something stupid, super cool, and then just be like, you didn't do that. Yeah. I was the one that went up and did it. I'm the one traveling up and down. I'm the one getting eyes on me. I'm the one doing this, that, and the third, because I'm putting in 24/7 hours, 24/7 worth of work, rather 24/7.
Hey, it sounds like you're putting in 27 hours. That's all.
27 hours.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, exactly.
You're doing the extra.
Exactly.
So you said 2020 was kind of that hard reset in your mind. What was that kind of breakthrough moment or match that you were like, okay, this is where I need to be?
So it was like it was a continual journey on the latter half of 2020 when shows kind of started to pick back up just a little bit, and it was like, okay, we're getting there. Mm-hmm. In November, Thanksgiving weekend, we had a show. The promotion was called Ground Zero, and it was in Lincolnton, North Carolina. And I went one-on-one with Ethan Case, who runs the Palmetto Wrestling Academy down in Columbia, South Carolina. And that was a match that I had wanted because he was one of the first independent guys I had seen. And I thought he was, great. He was larger than life. He was the sports entertainer. He was the streamers and everything else. And I was like, okay, I want this match. But I know that, like, if I crap the bed, that's it. Like, then maybe I'm not meant for, whatever it is I think that I can accomplish. And it was after that match that he and JD Drake was there, and other people were telling me, like, keep doing that, and you're going to be well on your way to where you want to be. And I said, okay, got it.
Nice.
Love that. So let's fast forward this weekend. Again, you'll be defending the VPW Outbreak Championship against Billy Brash. 420 show. Gotta love that.
Mm-hmm.
Take us through a little bit through this rivalry. It is a cage match, and any final words that you have for Billy?
Oh, I thought you were just going to say final words for me. And I was like, oh God, well, I mean, like, appropriate because Billy Brash in a steel cage. I get that. So my viral pro wrestling debut at the end of 2022, I believe, was in December, and it was against Billy Brash. He did in fact beat me. 1, 2, 3, simple as that. Yeah. And then for the following months at Viral, I went on to wrestle Suicide. I went on to wrestle like multiple other guys. And then in a ladder match in August of last year, Billy was ever so close, and then one little weapon later, up and down he went, and then I go up and I grab this championship. Underhanded, sure. Smart, absolutely. Yes. And he's been wanting to get his hands on me ever since then, and it looks like the powers that be have seen it fit that I get stuck inside a steel cage with Billy Brash. So yeah. I'm not salty at all. It's fine. It's great. It's great.
Doesn't sound right to me. Doesn't sound right. You won the title. Sounds like, hey, to win a title, you got to do whatever it takes. And it sounds like that's what happened. And now they stick you in a cage. Doesn't seem right.
That's what I'm saying. Success by any means
Yeah.
necessary. That's what that's what the DH and HD creed is. Absolutely.
That's fair. That's fair. So
I'm
we
not
have
mad at
spent
it.
the last 20 minutes talking all things Drew Hood. We want you to kind of take that spotlight and disperse it out. Who are some talents that we need to be paying attention to over the next year?
All right. So I actually wrestled him on Saturday. His name is Cam Jackson. I don't know if that name is familiar to anybody, but Cam Jackson out of North Carolina. Him and I actually started in the business together, and we're very similar. We are both very loud. We're both very out there. We're both very eccentric. He's very underrated in my opinion, though. He's now getting bigger and bigger matches, and I think that just needs to continue. He wrestled Shug D recently. He wrestled JD Drake as well recently. I think Cam Jackson is somebody that needs to be on the rise a lot more. And that's just me being very, very selfish for, obviously my best friend, my brother. I will always advocate for my ride partners, my best friends, James and Mila, all the time, every time. James with his insurmountable experience. Mila is one of the best, in my opinion, women workers in the area, and she should be around a lot more. And the problem is, too, every time I say a name, there's going to be 10 more because there are just so many good talents out of the Carolinas specifically that I just can't limit it to like 5 or 10. You know what I mean? Because I could talk about Rayhan and Tejas. I could talk about Jordan Holt. I could talk about Brittany Jade, even though I hate her so much. I hate her guts. But hi, bestie. Hate you. I could talk about just this TJ Boss. I could talk about oh my goodness gracious. I could talk about D'Angelo. I could talk about Sean Legacy. I could talk about there's just so many guys out of the Southeast that gals, and I could just keep going. And it just JAC, Zuka King. Could talk about Audrey Allen, Amanda Kiss, Jem Stone. I could talk about there's just again, you see what I mean? Like anytime a name pops up, there's gonna be more. I wish there was just like a group, like a Facebook or a Twitter or just some group that I could just be like, there. All their names are in there. Just look at this Word document. You know what? Maybe that's it. I'll make an Excel.
There you go.
There you go.
But yeah, no, that they're so good. All the random names I just threw out there, and then all the ones that I missed, I'm sorry, but genuinely, this is a really, really big talent pool to pull from. You really can't go wrong with most of the talent around here.
Awesome. Well, we didn't mean to put you on. Oh, yeah, no, go ahead.
And me, of course. I had to. Sorry, and me. Yeah.
And the spotlight's back.
What am I doing here? Duh. This is sports entertainment. The charismatic Clydesdale. Right. Me, duh. Of course.
So I think I have a feeling what the answer to this question is going to be. But we ask this of every guest that is on our show. When you think Mr. WrestleMania, is it Shawn Michaels or is it The Undertaker?
Yeah. Hard question is last.
I'm gonna say Shawn, but because of the matches. Undertaker had the mystique, but Shawn HBK had the show stealer matches. Because if you look at the history of it, unfortunately, some of these Taker streak matches are. Shawn very rarely missed. He was very rarely missing at Mania. So I'm gonna have to say that HBK is Mr. WrestleMania.
I thought I liked you.
Thank you.
Thought I did.
Look, I'm sorry. That's hard because I didn't think about it. I went,
it's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. Hey, you gave a justification for your answer. I can't be mad at you. One more rule that we have on this show is if you have a championship belt, you need to present that championship belt.
Always. Oh, come here.
Oh, see, and he has multiple championships.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. We're getting there.
That's right. Let's show them all off. Explain.
It's the Champions Lounge right here.
That's what it is. What it is, how you got it.
All right, this is our Viral Outbreak Championship right here. This is a very
Nice.
unique looking championship.
Yeah.
And then we've got ourselves the Pro Wrestling Union United Heavyweight Championship. This one's pretty. This one's unique.
That's a nice
Yeah.
one.
What?
I like that
I
one.
like the colors. Yeah.
And then we've got the Action Packed Wrestling Heavyweight Championship.
Hmm.
Look at that. Oh God.
Trifecta, Triple Crown.
Man,
Yeah.
Don't hurt yourself. I know that's a lot of weight right there.
It is. It is. Carrying all these titles and this much talent hurts, man. I'm telling you. Yes.
I hope you don't ever have to get on a
Love it.
plane.
Unfortunately, I don't know if I'd be able to bring all those with me if I did start traveling with all these championships.
Well, we want to thank you for that, and Drew, we
Yes.
want to thank you overall for just being on the show. We had a great time. Where can everybody find you on the socials, and then any upcoming events you want to plug? Go ahead.
Boy. All right. Well, luckily, if you look up Drew Hood on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and a lot of other places, you'll see this pretty money-making face right here. That is pretty simple. DH and HD on a lot of platforms as well. We got Viral Pro Wrestling this upcoming Saturday, where I step into a cage with Billy Brash, and I will totally survive it. And there is no doubt in my mind, none whatsoever. Nope, not one bit. And then next week, on April 26th, I will be going to NWA JCP. That'll be fun.
Okay.
I called out Toby Farley for his openweight championship, so we'll see if he accepts that. And then on the 27th, we'll be at Palmetto Championship Wrestling in a huge scramble match, including the likes of Chip Day, Jay Rios, amongst others. So it's going to be a tight 2 weeks. And, May, June, July, and it's all onwards and upwards.
Love it. Well, DH and HD, thank you so much once again for joining us. Best of luck this weekend and beyond. Feel free to come back to the show sometime. Maybe we'll give you a live mic, I think, next time.
You'll mess up. You'll mess up. Man. I'm always on. I love it.
Hey, that's what we expect, nothing less. But for Drew Hood, for the podcast dad and Mr. Cincinnati, thank you so much for checking out this episode of the Wrestling Junkies podcast. We'll talk to you guys soon.